I'm retired and I'm living in Bourneville, and the first time I came in touch with ChangeKitchen was because I've been much involved in the Jubilee Debt Campaign, and our publicity and training programmes sometimes included meetings with food, and we used ChangeKitchen. We find that to use vegetarian, not to say vegan, is a good idea, because on the whole, vegetarians won't touch anything that is non-vegetarian, but on the whole, those who eat meat are quite happy if it's a good vegetarian menu. So I've known about and been and used ChangeKitchen for 20 years, something like, no, perhaps not quite as long as that, 15. But the last time I used them was for my own personal purposes. I've just passed 80 and I had an 80th birthday party, and as I knew that some of my guests were vegetarian, I said, okay, the thing we do is use ChangeKitchen. Through my friend Audrey Miller, and she was another part of the Jubilee Debt Campaign, but was vegetarian, so she knew ChangeKitchen and what they did. If you mean for my own birthday party, because the food that they had provided was always interesting, different, exciting, and they are a caterer that will come to your own premises and do it and serve you wherever you are. And we had always had very good times with them and had good meals, and so this seemed to me the best one to use. Oh, lots of comments, and they, yes, I don't know whether I've got letters about them, but so many people have said that they enjoyed it and they enjoyed the meal and wasn't it different, and so yes, excellent. It was a lovely party. For that meal, well, it was different. I have the menu here. And I had chosen the main course was either ciccata or spinach and mushroom lasagna or Thai curry with rice, together with salads. The dessert was fruit or mango fool or chocolate brownies, and for to go with the coffee or tea, whichever, and herbal tea and so on, Birgitta had done a special mini chocolate mousse rather than having a birthday cake, which would have meant something that had to be cut up and taken round. Everybody was provided with a little mini mint mousse, which was their cake, and so that was what we had. It was different. People were interested in the food, and because it was a very international gathering, people from all over the world, South Africa, Asia, Africa itself, or mainland Africa, and all parts of Europe. It was a meal that everybody could find something that suited them, and they did. Birgitta was very, very adaptable, and in the end what we did was to have the serving table in the centre and the eating tables round the edge, and then the servers, I can't remember how many helpers Birgitta had, I think it may have been 2 or 3, and they took the dishes round to the tables. People helped themselves, and they had the basic dish, the basic plate, and then they helped themselves. And the JDC, yeah. Oh yes, well, Jubilee Debt Campaign, now you're asking me to think back quite a while. I can't quite remember exactly what we had, but it was always interesting. It was always a service from a say 2 or 3, generally 2 I think, choices. People took their plates and they were served by ChangeKitchen helpers. But again, it was international. You see, a lot of our Jubilee Debt Campaigners were Muslim, so we had to be very careful that we didn't cross any dietary resolutions. We had some Jewish people as well, and we had Hindus and Buddhists as well as Christians, so and people of no faith at all in some cases. So you had to be very careful that there was always something that everybody could enjoy. A very warm and understanding relationship, and whenever we were planning something, we could always explain what we were going to do, whether it was an evening do or whether it was a middle of the day or all day, and ChangeKitchen adapted to whatever it was and to whatever place it was. That was really perhaps the secret, because we held our meetings in different venues, and so it was always rather important that ChangeKitchen could fit in to whatever the place was. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan, so I'm not absolutely sure about this one, but I would assume that for a strict vegan, at any rate, the difficulty is to be sure that none of the additional sauces or flavourings are ones that they will not accept. For a vegetarian, it's easier to be sure that it hasn't got meat in it. Depends whether they accept fish, but I think the difficulty is mainly for vegans or for people with allergies. But Birgit is very aware of needs of allergens, so we haven't had any problems. People have always been able to choose something. As far as the diet goes, I mean, yes, healthy eating, I would certainly, and not wasting food, not over-catering, as it were, as well as catering adequately, but not over-catering is one thing. But the other big value is their concern for involvement in the community. And so we are quite sure that when other people are involved in helping with the catering, serving or whatever, there are people who are concerned, possibly people who are training, young people, possibly people who are at that point have no training or no idea what job they're going to have, and are being helped to with a range of choices. And Birgit is very good at involving folk who need just some help in directing their career or whatever it is. Yes. Well, I'm not quite sure what you describe as social enterprise. Let's start with that. But I am deeply concerned that there is opportunity for everyone, and especially young people, to be involved in community activities. Sometimes it may be paid ones, as in the case of ChangeKitchen. Sometimes it may be community service. I worked for community service volunteers for a number of years myself, so I know that volunteering has a deep impact on people of all ages, but especially on younger people if they haven't had that experience before. And so my view of yes, I would say social enterprise every time, because on the whole those people are wanting to put their concern, their skill and so on into the community, rather than expecting to take out of the community for profit. And so I'm very supportive of community enterprise, social enterprise, whatever it may be. I think, yes, people who came to my party were interested to hear Birgit speak, which she did. She explained what ChangeKitchen was about. And a number of them said to me, "Oh, we hadn't come across anything like this before. We were interested. How did you get to know about it? Why did you do it?" etc. So it was a good introductory experience for many people. For Jubilee Debt Campaign, that was a part of the decision, certainly. I would say it was a fairly big part of the decision, partly because of the principles that Audrey Miller held and that she shared with us. For my party, I had learned from Audrey, and yes, I wanted something that was adventurous and different and was healthy eating. I don't particularly go for, I'm not a strong meat eater, so I'm quite happy not to eat meat, and I think that vegetarian diets are often very healthy. I've just bought myself a NutriBullet. Yes, I mean, the ones that we had for my, I particularly enjoyed the zacata and the spinach and mushroom lasagna. I didn't eat with the other people. I went round the tables talking to them, and Birgit has saved me the meal so that I can have it in the evening, and I enjoyed those very much. Yes, I would say that I learned new recipes from, or at least new tastes, flavours from her. I think we probably met with her 3 or 4 times. I had a very good friend who was going to be Master and Mistress of Ceremonies, and she and I met Birgit, and we decided on the menu, and we decided how it was going to be served, and you know, with Birgit, and my friend and I went to see the room and sort it out, and we brought photographs for Birgit to see what the room would be like, so that she could choose where she served and how it was done. So I would say we had 3 or 4 meetings with her, but a good deal of discussion and exchanges by internet. Very important. Because unless we learn to respect the environment and the food which the earth provides and use it carefully and well, we shall destroy the environment and the earth that we have from which to grow crops, and 2, in fact, there will not be enough for some people, and there will be more than enough for others, but we shall destroy the planet, and I can see that as being a possibility, because people are not careful about how much they draw from the soil. I mean, I'm a biologist by training, and I think we're actually overusing the soil environment by using so many artificial fertilizers and not, in fact, using the natural replenishment of the earth. And I can see it. I have seen it in Ethiopia, where they have absolutely turned reasonably fertile parts into barren landscapes, and if we're not careful, we shall do it here too. There is a limit to what the earth can produce naturally, and to what we can expect as a non-vegetarian, what you can expect to produce in terms of meat. And I don't like factory farming of any sort, and that's why I think if you're a meat eater, you should be cautious about how many times a week you eat meat. Well, first of all, it is entirely vegetarian and vegan, so that's a beginning. Secondly, the recipes, the menus, are different. I mean, I don't know where else I would go and find a menu like this one. And in terms, because it's a mobile catering place, it means that it can go anywhere and be used anywhere, and they are so adaptable about where they will fit in and where they will offer services. I don't know of anything like ChangeKitchen. I haven't been a great one for looking for catering firms, but I've never come across one like this before.